completely understand that, and we do understand that distances between sites and the public transport that is available doesn't always drop people at the door of every facility. So we'll need to continue to work on our transport strategy.
Going back to the capacity of St Mary's and Charing Cross to cope with the closure of emergency at Hammersmith, your own paper said that 49 beds would need to be made available at St Mary's and Charing Cross for that purpose, but you're only providing 15 new beds, and the rest will have to come from winter escalation beds. So what happens when winter comes, and why hasn't that been included in your risks, and why has nobody on the board raised that issue, which isn't properly explained in the paper?
So, just for the point of accuracy, the additional beds that we require for the likely admissions from the Hammersmith EU closure going to St Mary's is actually 15 beds. What we've presented in the paper is a clear separation between the fact that at St Mary's and at the Charing Cross we have got already capacity as contingency for the increased seasonal demand that we would see at winter, and that's already in place, and that is in addition to the extra beds that we're putting in at St Mary's to accommodate the anticipated extra admissions from the closure of the facility on this site.
That's my point. You say you need 49 beds.
No, so and we have those. So I'm absolutely confident that both in terms of the implications of this emergency unit closing and the capacity required at St Mary's, together with what we know we need to accommodate on St Mary's and the Charing Cross site around those seasonal increasing demands around winter, we have got that in place. We've got the physical capacity that is staffed, and that's going to be available. The other thing about capacity is not just about beds. It's really important to understand that this is also about changing the way we deliver urgent and emergency care demand. So having more senior clinicians available throughout the day and at weekends up to midnight in the emergency department to provide ambulatory emergency services, to actually get people back into hot or urgent care clinics the next day rather than admitting patients into beds, is the model of care that we actually need to try and support and deliver, because we admit too many patients into hospital beds across the NHS when actually the provision of different models of care to manage those patient needs outside of hospital and back into their own home in an ambulatory or clinic environment is what we're trying to also put in place. So it's not just bed capacity, it's about expertise and people capacity and different models of care. We've put that in place.
But my question was about beds, and it still seems to me you're double counting.
So no,
if there's a winter emergency.
So I can absolutely assure you, we are not double counting. We have got winter capacity for the increased seasonal demand on the St Mary's and the Charing Cross site, and we've got extra, not double counted capacity in relation to the St Mary's demand that we would see from the closure of the Hammersmith EU. As I absolutely guarantee that, I know where that physical capacity is, we've got it staffed, it's ready to go, and it is in addition to anything related to winter.
Okay, thanks very much, Steve. Now, thank you. We haven't been able to answer all your questions, but if you have questions, please send them to the Chief Executive at imperial.nhs.uk and they will be answered. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for taking interest.
Take the pause to offer an invitation to Tracy Bunn. I am chair of Sadar Hospital's Hammersmith and Charing Cross. That is a community-based campaigning group which involves local people, it involves patients, it involves carers, and it has huge support in the community, as the shock local election results showed. We are not against change. We're not Luddites, although it has to be said some of the things the Luddites were fighting against were very worthy. But we have yet to be convinced that the changes proposed by Imperial and those more generally in North West London will actually meet the health needs of people in this borough and more widely in North West London. So as chair of Sadar Hospitals, could I invite you, Tracy, to meet with me and with some of our officers to go through in much finer detail what our concerns are. You can tell from the tone of the meeting that people are not satisfied with what is coming up. I think to meet with our officers, give us time to digest the document a little bit more, but to actually discuss those issues. We may not end up agreeing, but I do think you need to hear much more clearly that local community voice.
Thank you very much.
And you can even speak in stride.
Yeah, and I'm sure Tracy will be very pleased to do that. Thank you for that intervention. Thank you all very much. Sorry we haven't been able to answer.
That wasn't
Thank you.
a crack of water, I am a spirit.